Listeners be advised, this episode is rated R for colorful language. Big news, everybody. Hats are back in stock on sportingchancepod.com. Select t-shirts are $10 off and sticker packs are half off. Go get them while you can. And if you want a lurcher, head on over to Clover Creek Canine on Facebook and message our friend Sean O'Neill today. For your micro hawking and redtail supplies on the East Coast, visit mountainstatefalconrysupply.com. To get the tightest braided equipment on the market, visit midnightfalconry.com. And last but not least, to add a goshawk to your hunting arsenal, go on over to northmountaingoshawks.com today and put in your order for next year's hunting partner. All right, everybody, we are back this week with the Vice President of NAFA, Heath. Once again, top-notch crying and whining for me and Casey. Heath does a great job of fending us off and explaining some of what NAFA does, but we certainly don't hold back, and we tell him how we feel, and he was a good sport. It was a really good episode. But briefly, want to talk to friend of the show, Brett Rees. Brett's here with me. If you listen to last week, he talked about his merch drop, but the merch drop at this point will be ending very soon. So, Brett, when does the pre-order end?
Hey, thanks for having me on. Sunday, December 7th. Order at devilsofdirthawking.com. It's the Devil's Redtail shirt that's up. I think it's a really cool shirt, kind of that vintage feel. And I'm really excited to have it released.
Based off of a bandana that he got at a flea market, an old Harley bandana.
Yeah, out at Rose Bowl Flea Market in California.
Oh, cool. That seems like Harley territory to me.
Mm-hmm.
Easy Rider territory, maybe. I don't know. I've never actually seen the movie. But guys, get the pre-order in. Get it in. If you haven't done it at this point, go ahead and get it in, because there's a significant chance you're going to miss out, and these will never be available again.
That is correct.
All right. Thanks, Brett.
Thank you.
Welcome, everyone, to the Sporting Chance podcast. Today, we are joined by NAFA Vice President Falconer, Heath Garner. Welcome to the show, Heath.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
It's a pleasure to have you.
Yeah, I know you guys have been talking about reaching out to NAFA to come on, and nobody's ever reached out, so I'm glad you finally did.
Yeah, it was I had to get a little creative with my tactics to get you on. So what I did was I trolled Heath.
He did.
And Heath is I don't know if Heath's, he seems like a pretty hip guy, but I don't think he's as hip, so I had to troll him. I had to get him fired up. And I said, well, hey, why don't you just come on the show? We talk about it. He said, all right, I'm coming on. No,
I would have come on without that, man. I would have come on without that.
No, I'm
glad you guys have had several directors on already, and there's been some interesting discussion. So it's great.
Yeah. So now we're gonna dive into the meat and potatoes. We're gonna get deep here. We're gonna ask some, Heath can plead the fifth to some of the questions we asked, but we're gonna ask some good questions. We're gonna have a lot of fun though. Heath's an excellent falconer and incredible reputation, and he flies goshawks. So obviously, respect,
the man.
And he flies only North American, so even more respect.
Only because that's all. I mean, I've had the opportunity, to fly anything else. So.
Well, there you go. That's like my sponsors. They don't want to pay money for birds. They don't want to do nothing like that. So they just fly North American.
I'll write the check on the next one. Trust me.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. They're not at that point yet. They still. Yeah, they just get lucky too.
Just today, Phil was saying, I'll never buy a bird. I'm like, your ass will buy a bird if you can't pull a chick.
Yep.
Get a passage.
It was pretty, it was pretty cool. I mean, that's a great experience for anybody who's never done that, to go to my bird came from Montana. Pulled her from a nest in Montana. We pulled 3 birds that week I was there. And then my first one that I pulled was from Wyoming. But just going out there and camping, for a week and looking for nests. And I mean, it's just a great experience. I think everybody ought to do it once while you can. Of course, it's gotten a lot harder now with pine beetle, infestations out west, and really constricted some of the nesting territories. So
how are the ticks and black flies and mosquitoes in Montana?
Man, we didn't have a bug bother us. No.
Must be nice.
Now Wyoming was bad. And that was 2003 when I pulled that one in Wyoming. And I mean, hell, you could be at 8,500 feet and have one leg in the snow and the one leg out. The one leg out was black with mosquitoes. I mean, it was crazy.
I never understood why such cold places seem to have the worst mosquitoes.
I know it. And we thought we were going to be, because we have mosquitoes really bad here in Arkansas, especially where I live in the rice country. And because, they're irrigating rice all summer long and they keep water sitting on the, hundreds of thousands of acres, 10 minutes from my house. Mosquitoes are horrible, but I've never seen anything quite like that. I mean, my legs were literally black with mosquitoes, right next to the snow line.
So how long have you been a falconer, Heath?
37, 38 years. Somewhere there. I started in 88. So,
and did you start?
That math works out too. Yeah, I've always lived in Arkansas. I've actually lived in Jonesboro, where I am now, for all but 3 years of my life. I worked for the Forest Service right out of grad school. So I worked in Hot Springs, Arkansas, in the southwestern part of the state for 2.5, 3 years. And then that was a soft money government job. I don't know if y'all know what soft money. I mean, it's basically a grant funded position. Money runs out, job runs out. So, and then I went to work for DU for a little bit and did some work for them up here. That brought me back home essentially, and I've been here ever since.
Is that where they're located? Is that their headquarters?
DU, they're in Memphis. I say that Memphis/Mississippi. They've got 2 offices. They got a corporate office in Memphis, and then they have a field office headquarters that's in Mississippi.
And I'm assuming that we're talking Ducks Unlimited here.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, Arkansas is it the duck capital of the United States?
Well, that's what they say. Some years I question it.
When you look at the flyways, I'm sorry, Casey. When you look at the flyways, it'll be like a heat map of density of birds. That the flyway that comes through Arkansas is just like red hot compared to everything else.
Yeah, Arkansas, and then of course the Central Valley of California gets their fair share of ducks too, for sure. But it's rice production that is what does it. It's what holds them. But yeah, we've got, when the duck numbers are good, they're really good. I mean, and you think that duck hawking would be super easy, but it's not, because they're on
big water, right?
Yeah, they're on 160 acres of water. I mean, it's you really can't hawk them realistically. In those situations, you got to find the right spots, the right slips. It's almost like, it's almost like the ocean, right? You have infinite number of gallons of water, nothing to drink. It's the same way where there's, millions of ducks and you can't hawk any of them sometimes. So
it's the same way here in North Carolina. There's plenty of ducks, but we have huge lakes and they're all on big lakes, and the lakes never freeze because it's too warm all winter. So they just hang out on big ponds and lakes, and good luck ever getting them off.
Yeah, and that's the frustrating part. The rice fields here are only flooded. Most of them that are flooded deep is only 18 inches. Like, you're out, it's not even knee deep. So you can walk out there, but your bird doesn't know the difference between knee deep and 200 feet deep. They're just not going to make contact over that water. Unless you're flying a goshawk. I mean, the goshawk will bulldog them into the water and don't give shit and just swim to the edge, But I don't ever try that on those big fields, because I don't know where it's going to end up and how easy it's going to be to reclaim her. And then there's bald eagles everywhere too in the wintertime. And so you don't want to have a hawk out there rowing with a duck and then a bald eagle come and snag your bird, off the water. So try to limit my duck hawking to flooded corners of fields and stock ponds when we can find ducks on them, and drainage canals primarily.
So now, do you have, I grew up duck hunting with my sponsors. I was the guy who would jump out of the truck and sneak up, and I wasn't allowed to look over because I was too excitable, and it wasn't, so they wouldn't let me for a while. And then finally I was like, I could do it. So I would sneak up and like, just peek over and I'd be like, they're in there. And and then your heart's jumping and stuff like that. But at least around here, we have a circuit, we have spots. They're like historical. The ducks are always there. Something's holding them there. There's something they're feeding on, or they feel safe. Is it the same by you? Do you have you have a bunch of spots that nothing there? I'm going to,
next
location.
One. Yeah.
Yep.
You just, you're right. Like, oh, that canal's not holding. Let's go to the next one. Let's go to the next one. Let's try this borrow pit pond. Let's, it's all, within 20 minutes or so drive, we can check 6 spots and one of them usually pans out.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, we around here it's 6 spots is not going to cut it. It's like usually it's the same stream, but it's like you're checking the same stream over the course of a couple miles, like 20 times. Like if I would wake up on a Sunday, not a Sunday, obviously, excuse me, on a Saturday. And no, and I'm not, that's not even a joke. I don't hawk ducks on Sunday. And I would say, I want to hunt ducks today. I just want to hunt ducks today. I mean, we'll kill 4 or 5 hours just checking for slips, like for 4 hours straight, like dozens and dozens of spots. They were here, I saw them here one time. I was there one time. And it just becomes like basically just putting miles on the truck, kind of like road trapping a redtail or something. You just got to put the miles on and look.
I don't do that anymore. I used to do that. I used to drive for hours, looking for that one duck slip. And anymore, it's like, if I don't find one within 30 minutes, I'm like, all right, let's go hit a rabbit spot. I mean, this is great. We're done.
It's wisdom.
It's just not worth it, and then of course I can always just not fly the goshawk and then, fly snipe or dove with the peregrine or whatever. And of course you can do the same thing with that though. I mean, you can drive, and check 20 spots before you find the right spot,
You were telling us off air, and you've already said it. You've said as much, but you fly a peregrine and a North American goshawk.
Right. I've got a passage peregrine tiercel that's starting his 3rd season this year, and then my goshawk's North American that's an imprint that's starting her 12th season.
And for those of you listening, the peregrine is perched behind you. Beautiful bird.
Yeah.
Did you trap that in Arkansas?
Yeah. Yeah. It was trapped about 15 minutes from my house.
How does that work there?
It's funny you ask. I'm actually giving a presentation on that very thing at the NAFA meet this year. It's not unlike how they do it anywhere else. I mean, it's very unlike beach trapping on Padre, right? You're not driving the beach and you're not driving and chunking pigeons out the window or anything like that here. Although my first one that I caught was caught that way. Now we set up bonets, and blind sets with, and maybe a doe gaze out there. And it's very much like ridge trapping, but the secret here, at least in the Mississippi alluvial valley, is looking for shorebird stopover habitat, because the peregrines are following the food source on migration. That's the only reason they leave the Arctic, because all the food left. And they're making a living on shorebirds up there. And so if we can find these ag fields or even backwater flood areas next to some of our rivers that may hold mudflat habitat, that there'll be hundreds or thousands of shorebirds there, the peregrine's going to show up. They just will. Now you've got to be there when they show up. So I sit there in a blind for 2 weeks, working on a laptop with a hotspot, passing the time until the shorebirds blow up and start screaming, and then you start yanking on the pigeon. So, but you got to be there. You can't catch them on the couch.
Are you looking for weather pattern and stuff like that? Like you're following winds
weather
and stuff
patterns they have a huge influence, Casey, huge influence. Like this year was terrible. I sat out there for 2 weeks. Mike Jones from Tennessee came over and he got an out-of-state permit and trapped with me for the first week. We saw 12 peregrines the first 5 days. Most of them were adults. Most of them were anatoms, or looked to be anatoms. And then that Friday, he left on Wednesday. That Friday, I caught a female adult, and I didn't see another peregrine after that. Like, it's terrible, but the weather's terrible. I mean, everybody says we're having great weather right now, but it's terrible for migration. Bluebird skies, high pressure systems, these things are at 3,000 feet with a tailwind. They're not stopping. They don't care how much food's down there. They got somewhere to be, so they're just flying right over us. The ones that are anyway, or it's routing them, and of course I'll get on, this will be part of my presentation in a couple of weeks, but when, you got a big high pressure system that's stationed over Missouri, that's going to push a lot of birds over the Great Lakes, from Canada coming down, but it's going to push them over to the west slope of the Appalachians. And so you get a lot of migration down through the upper Ohio Valley, Tennessee, and then they end up coming through Alabama or Mississippi and end up on the Gulf Coast. And they just go around Arkansas. And that's what's been going on the whole season this year. So nobody got a bird this year here in Arkansas. Typically we catch between 2 and 5, in the first week to 10 days. And it just didn't happen this year.
Yes. So I think that your team that you have, I think that's the ultimate falconry setup.
What's that?
A peregrine, a wild peregrine, and a wild goshawk.
Oh, goshawk.
I think that's pretty much, in my personal opinion, based off of historic literature, that's like the ultimate.
Oh, it is. It's the
100%.
I mean, you can't, you can hawk anything, right? I mean,
well, not only that, but it's just like the purity of it. Like you have two of the most special birds that you could have.
Yeah, no, it's nice. I mean, I've flown a lot of captive bred hybrids and things like that, and peregrines, and I've, different mixes and matches, gyr peregrines, gyr prairies, Barbary crosses. I mean, the beauty of a passage falcon is just, I mean, you can get that bird going in 3 months, and it takes 3 years to get a captive bird to that same place. Just there's a lot of time investment in a captive bird. And
100%.
having done that for 20 plus years, I don't know that I'll ever go back after flying passage peregrines.
Yeah,
I would love to.
I agree.
To fly one. That's on my short list of birds that I would love to.
And it's what's crazy is and you probably heard this from other people. I mean, they're one of the easiest birds to train. I mean, probably easier than a redtail. And I know I've heard you say, Aaron says Cooper's hawk's the easiest bird in North America to train, and they pretty much are. I mean, I'm not going to disagree with you. Cooper's hawk's an easy bird to train. It's a hard bird to keep in good feather and alive, but it's easy to train. But passage peregrines, not all of them. They're all individuals, right? So you get some of them that are just a real pain in the ass. But most of the time, I mean, my experience, probably 90% of them is they're eating on the glove the first night with a dog under them. I mean, you're not going to get any other wild caught bird like that doing that.
Why do you think that is? Because we've been trying to figure.
They come from where there's no people.
So
they're the first human they've ever seen.
So that's what you think? They have no negative interaction. They weren't bumped off of something.
I mean, they're obviously, you're a big predator, right? I mean, that registers in their little brain that this thing, could eat me. But then they figure out real quick, well, I'm not dead yet. What's going on here? And I mean, literally, they're eating on the glove the first night with a dog under them. No baiting. I mean, just chow down. Now afterwards they might get a little baity and excitable, but usually that's the way it goes. And within 10 days, that bird's ready to be free flown. 10 to 14 days tops, you can free fly that bird. They're so easy. The problem is a lot of people lose them early on, and I've had my share of chases with birds. I mean, they're so easy that they fool you into thinking they're ready to go, and it's really like a false flight weight. You got it a good response weight, but when that bird gets to 600 feet, he's gonna be like, hey, "Fuck y'all, I'm going on down now to the Gulf."
I think that's what happened to me, and I was warned about it. What do you, on average, because you've flown a couple of them, what is like? And they're tundra peregrines. So what's the weight?
This bird flies at 525.
Tiercel, obviously. Yeah. Have you flown any females?
Females fly around 750, 725 to 750.
Yeah, mine was ultra responsive and an angel at 790.
Yeah.
And then after
9?
Yeah, something like that. And when I lost her and we had that whole fiasco chasing her around, then everybody's decided to tell me, oh no, man, she was too heavy. She should have been. And I'm like, well, why didn't somebody tell me that? I was warned that they want to take off on you and migrate. Yeah. So she was coming, like you said, like the easiest bird in the world. And I was so committed to not losing her that I got like this like marlin fishing, high poundage, like Dacron lightweight.
Yeah.
And she was doing lure stoops with a creance. And I was like jumping out of the way of the creance because I was like, I can't let her free yet because I was warned by so many people that they'll trick you. And then as soon as they just don't feel like being around you, they'll take off. But then later when I was free flying her, she was obese, but she was so responsive that I thought we were good.
Yeah.
And she tricked me.
Yeah. It just takes that one time, that they see something else they're interested in and they're gone, I've lost a few birds like that though. I mean, early on, and that was pre-GPS. Thank God for GPS. Now it saved me several times,
The funniest thing is that my GPS was in the mail and it was supposed to come on a Tuesday and I flew the bird
without it
on a Saturday. Not even joking. And all I had was like a little crappy micro.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, we'll be all right. She's awesome. She's great.
Yeah.
And that's it.
And you know what? It could have been.
It could have been. Yeah.
It just takes the one time, all it takes is the one instance. But I've had birds it was pre-GPS, the female that I caught in 2012 as the first peregrine caught in Arkansas was 2012. And she I didn't have GPS on her, but I ended up chasing her 72 miles before I got her back. So, you never know.
Is there something to the whole thought process that a Tiercel passage peregrine is more loyal and they tend to hang around you more than the females, and the females are more likely to?
No, I don't think so. I haven't seen that. I mean, the last female I had, I flew her for 3 seasons before she ended up dying of avian cholera. And she was super loyal. I mean, you never had to look for that bird. She was always right there, so I think it's just a routine. I think you have to give the time and have the field control long enough to develop the routine. And once you get that, they're good. Then you can get away with pushing weights and things like that, but you can still push too far, obviously. And I've done that more than once, even with this bird.
Right.
Because I like to fly them as high as I can. Because especially with snipe hawking, with snipe hawking, it's not like duck hawking where you've got the ducks on the pond. Okay, they're there. Let's go. You put the bird up. It goes up to 300, 400 feet, comes down, whacks the duck, you go home. With snipe hawking, there's a lot of missing and remounting and missing and remounting, and the flights last 30, 40 minutes, so you want a bird to be able to sustain that. And so
it's good falconry.
It is good falconry, but it's, it's easy to think you got to keep the bird really low and you end up losing performance, but not really knowing it's because you got the bird too low. You're like, well, I wonder why he didn't like that one. Well, it's because he freaking can't fly,
I had a new general falconer hit me up today to ask me about their redtail, and the answer, because it's not doing what she wants it to do. So it's either too low or it's too high.
Yeah, one or the other. It's always safer to go up, but
yeah,
but sometimes it's sometimes they are too low.
I don't know if I'll ever get over that answer. That's just the funniest thing in the world to me.
Well, it's always like whenever you're looking for something, it's the last place you look, right? I mean,
yeah,
it's the same thing.
Yeah, the symptoms are the same regardless, and
that's right.
Yeah,
but I've been guilty of that though. I mean, the last prairie falcon I flew was a Arkansas trap passage prairie, believe it or not, and caught that one. I caught it 10 minutes from my house. It was really, really weird. And I don't know, Dennis Samney in Missouri. I don't know if you know who that is.
I do know who he is.
He caught one like the day before outside of St. Louis. And I bet you anything they were siblings, and just got blown off, because a big storm had come through in the Nebraska, Kansas area about 3 days prior. And I think they just got blew off course. But
anyway, I saw an eBird. I'm sorry. Go. I'm about to interrupt your story. Go ahead, and I'll.
No, I'm just going to say that bird in her second season. I flew her for 2 seasons, but towards the end of her second season, I wasn't getting performance that I thought she ought to be giving me. And I said, well, I'm just going to drop her weight, And then she ended up dying of midwinter anemia because she was too low. I went the wrong way, So
I saw an eBird before I forget. Freaking Roadrunners in Arkansas.
Yeah, they're all over in the Ozark region. Yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's cool. What are they eating? What are they catching
Lizards,
down
man,
there?
lizards.
You guys got lizards there?
Oh, we got lizards everywhere.
Wait, it doesn't
have lizards in New York.
No, we have the 5-line skink. That's about it. But
we've got lots. Yeah,
it doesn't get cold there.
It does.
How? What are we talking cold? Because I think you're just
well, we can get frozen and locked up for a week. Sometimes.
But, I'm sure it gets
that's not long. Right? That's not anything compared to say Michigan or whatever. Right? You know what I mean? But we get down below freezing and stay there for weeks sometimes. But on average, our winters are pretty mild, really. I mean, 30s, somewhere in the 30s.
30s is nice. That's my favorite. I think 30 on the button, no wind, overcast is my favorite.
What about you? I really like 28. 28 degrees is perfect.
Yeah, you know what? Actually, thinking about it, I think I like 27.
Yeah,
I'm more into 26.
It's weird because down here with the humidity, 40 degrees feels colder than 27 degrees.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
I mean, it does. It's just because when it's around 40 degrees in the winter, it's humid as hell, and it's just freaking cold. And when it's in the 20s, it's usually because it's dry air, and so it just feels more comfortable. But we don't get a lot of that. We get, a few weeks out of the year.
My problem
in the 30s.
But the reason why I'm asking is because people that live in Arkansas, like friend of the show, Bear Newcomb, and then his dad obviously is very well known, Clay Newcomb from Meat Eater. Like, it just seems like people that live in Arkansas, they love Arkansas.
Oh, yeah. I've lived here my whole life. I've been all over the country and I'm still living here. So,
yeah, it just seems that way. It's something about Arkansas that draws people in and just keeps them there, and they just get passionate about their state. Like, I don't think anybody in New York, except for the people in the city, and they're like, New York, oh, it's my city. But I don't think anybody really like Jersey people. Like, I don't think they're like, oh, Jersey's the best. Like, I would never leave Jersey. Like, Jersey's like, you know what I mean? Like,
you ever seen the Jersey Shore TV show?
Yeah, but those people are like they're like the scum of the earth. Like, they're not even like
that far. I bet my ex-wife would disagree with you.
You ever seen
She's from Jersey and left here to go back to Jersey.
It wasn't meant to be then, because Jersey sucks. Yeah. I mean, Jersey's good, I guess, because we had a UFC fighter on 2 days ago, and that was a fun episode. And he's right. You have the beach, you have the mountains, you have the middle of nowhere, you have farmland. You have a little bit of everything, which is pretty nice.
Pretty tight, though. Pretty confined landmass, though, where all that stuff is.
Yeah, I will say that the stuff about Jersey that's nice is the trapping. We seem to have it really easy here.
Oh yeah,
it seems to be I didn't know how good we had it. Like, I just grew up going to the beach and we trapped 30 merlins, 20 merlins. Right. Not nowadays, but I remember literally we'd be putting them up, while somebody's pulling 3 out of the mist net, somebody's they're on the scale and they're having an argument which one we should keep. And then we're cutting one loose, socking up another one. And then it's you just whichever one you want. And people out west are driving around with the Ogazas and looking out the window and it bumped and we got to chase it. And I'm like, there's literally, the sky looks like mosquitoes with kestrels, merlins, Cooper's hawks, sharp. And then even the peregrine, when I went trapping, I went with Paul Aaliyah for I think it was he pulled his first or second permit, and he wanted me to come with him and help him and just experience it. And I went, and he timed the wind perfectly. We were talking about weather. I mean, there was we counted like 70. Yeah. Not even joking. No, and it was one of those things where you'd have the low ones and they'd come in and check. But it's with the binoculars, when you're trying to fine tune it. If you look up into the sky at any given time,
you're focusing through them, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And if you focus and just look long enough, there's just like dozens of them, just like you said, 1,000 feet up, just cruising over your head. No interest.
You're not going to get that here.
No. Yeah. It's just it's a different world.
You know what? It's kind of in between, though. I mean, it's not as bad as out west. I mean, if you in a good year, you're going to have a lot of activity on any given day. It's not going to be like that. You're not going to have 20 merlins a day or anything like that. But you might have a merlin and a Cooper's and a redtail and a peregrine all in the same day or something like that. And you'll see a lot of stuff come through, and a lot of stuff will check, the pigeon or whatever, and keep going. And redtails, but the whole area, like Arkansas, Kansas, Oklahoma, probably more red tails per mile than anywhere else in the U.S. during the fall and winter. Every half mile there's red tail. So you're road trapping, but it's not like you're driving forever. You're just like, oh, there's one, let's try that one. Oh, there's another one right down the road. If this one's not ready, we'll just go to that one. It's so as far as red tails go, red tails and kestrels are really, really numerous.
Oh, that's nice. I think some of us, somebody's probably listening right now while they're driving around looking for a red tail because
people are having a hard time right now.
Right now, it's tough. Like I said, with the peregrines not migrating, nothing's migrating through. This is the weirdest year ever. I'm sitting out there all day, every day for 2 weeks. Usually you see, some red tails or a kettle of broadwings, a harrier. Man, I didn't see. There's nothing. There's no raptors migrating. None. Except for that first week. We had a little bit of activity that first week. And then when the weather switched, just nothing. It's really, really bizarre. I even talked to one of the farmers that I trap on. He's like, where's all the red tails? I'm like, I have no idea. He's like, they're usually everywhere. I'm like, I know, there's nothing. So I think they're either held up or just diverted,
That's actually a pretty good segue. And Aaron, I don't know if you want to segue. Aaron, Heath, I don't know if you know, Aaron he leads the show. He's more organized and professional than I am, obviously. But I think that's a good segue because, and I'm hesitant to even bring this up because I don't want to even draw attention to it. But over the last maybe 15 years, if you look at the counts, and I'm just speaking for us on the East Coast, if you look at the counts are down pretty significantly, like for red tails. And I don't, like I said, I don't even want to bring it up. And it was actually Brian Bradley. Shout out to Brian Bradley because he's a trapping fanatic and he's like on the they'll go to they'll be at the ridge or they'll be at the beach all day, and then they're at night like looking at the banding sightings and looking at you know what I'm
the numbers.
And they're like screenshotting it and we're sending it around. And then he did it. He just took them and put like 2010 and like 2020 and put the numbers, and it was like pretty significant. Is that something that is even, you think it's just global warming or you know what I mean?
I do. And man, we've circulated that question all over with all the guys who are trapping in Arkansas. Are they in trouble, or are we just, or is weather and prey availability, rerouting them somewhere? There's no way to know. The numbers are a good indication though, right? If you've got a site that you've been trapping for 20 years or surveying for 20 years and the numbers are steady going down, then there's obviously something going on, right? And that seems to be the case in a lot of places. But I don't know. I'm going to have to look at that myself because I always watch Hawk Ridge in Duluth. That's kind of my indicator spot for when and what to expect coming through the Mississippi Flyway. And their numbers seem to be fairly consistent over the past few years. Although, avian influenza has really put the hurt on a lot of raptors, especially peregrines, but it's also killed red tails. We've had a few guys catch red tails in recent years. They hit the bird, start manning down, 3 days later, just kills over dead, and then they go get a necropsy. It had avian influenza when they caught it, and just didn't know it. But I think a lot of that's going on, and it's hard to know because they're not, every carcass isn't recovered, right? So you just don't know if that's the culprit. But I think weather has a lot to do with all of it. Migratory numbers to, like I said, prey availability. Like right now, Arkansas is weird, or at least our part of Arkansas is weird right now. We had crazy flooding in April and May, like 14 inches of rain in one day. And all the rivers flooded, which flooded out all the fields and the floodplains. So a lot of farmers had prevent planting. There was water sitting there all the way up until past planting date. So you can't, rice has to have 120 days to grow. If you miss the window, you're not planting rice this year. And so all that stuff that was flooded up and down these floodplains dried through the summer. The rains just shut off in June. We didn't get hardly any rain June, July, August. Just dry as a popcorn fart. And so now they went in and plowed everything that was flooded because they can get in there and rework the ground. So basically it's a sea of dirt. So what the hell's a hawk going to eat if it comes here anyway? there's nothing there. I mean, I know they don't eat grass, you know what I'm saying, but there's nothing to hold the rats, right? There's nothing to hold the rodents. It's just dirt. So I don't think that they're dying necessarily from that, but I think they're certainly going where the food source is, and it's not here. So that could be going on in other flyways as well, with some kind of weird habitat availability combined with weather.
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. That's a good response. Do you think that could be, 'cause basically I'm trying to do a transition into NAFA. Is that something that's like on their radar? Contingency plans for when the antis start trying to say, oh, well, look, we just noticed this. That's why I didn't want to bring it up. And Courtney cut this out.
Okay, look, this is, and I'm sure we'll get into all kinds of NAFA stuff, but right now our number one goal is normalization of peregrine take, right? That's our number one goal. And that was one of the reasons why Martin and I went to DC a couple of weeks ago, was to try to get that prioritized within the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. Because they've had an environmental assessment for that very thing on their desk since last September. And then the administration change came in, and then we didn't have a secretary or a director in place to sign anything to get put on the public notice. So the CEA has got to go out on public notice, right, for 60 days at least. And then they'll take all the comments in it and make a decision, right? So it's just been sitting there because there's not been a director to sign it. And so we went to go see the director 18 days after he got into office, make sure that was number one on the list. Now, that being said, is we still don't have it right. The government shut down. So now there's nobody there to sign anything. But the old argument that those are our peregrine, we get this a lot from bird groups and peregrine conservation groups that are peregrine specific, even though they don't realize that their group was started by falconers. They don't want us taking their peregrines. And then my response to them has always been, well, then ban all of them. We can't keep banded birds. And they're like, well, we can't do that. There's too many. I'm like, thank you. You made my point. I mean, what's your problem? And then the other thing is avian influenza. So that was one of the reasons the EA got pushed and not go out, because they wanted to revise it to incorporate requests for information regarding avian influenza and the impact of nesting peregrines. And that's very pertinent, right? We want to conserve the species, and we want to make sure that we're not going to overharvest or whatever, right? But you're really not going to, because if they're that big of trouble, guess what? There's no peregrines for us to trap. I mean, if these people realize we catch a few, catch 150 birds a year or whatever across all three flyways that have passage take, right, on a good year. But that takes a lot of damn effort. I mean, we're sitting out there for 2 to 3 weeks to catch 5 birds. It's not like you're going to go, I'm going to go out today and catch a peregrine and go do it. It doesn't happen that way. And so if their numbers are that low consistently year to year, we'll have the same thing that I experienced this year. You just won't catch one. So we're not taking them. So it's irrelevant, So it's not that it's not a concern of ours. When I say ours, I mean NAFA. Avian influenza is definitely a concern, not only for the wild population, but our birds that we have in possession, And we definitely have a group within our technical advisory committee and the conservation committee are both working in tandem with a select state. Is all I want to say right now, where the state veterinarian is educated on falconry and very close to the poultry industry at the same time. And so they are working on getting a vaccine approval process done. Because everybody knows there's, what everybody affectionately calls avocado juice floating around, right, from this vaccine coming up from Mexico. We don't know the efficacy of it. Nobody knows if it actually works. There's been no systematic testing of it. We know that it's got maybe a 30% efficacy because it's based on the old 2007 strain from Europe, right? That's where the vaccine came from. It's not the endemic strain that we have now. So we're actually trying really hard to work with this group of veterinarians and the poultry industry subsegment to see how they're getting the vaccine approved for the poultry industry, so we can piggyback it and do the same thing and have a vaccine approved for falconry birds, because we want to be able to protect our birds that we have in our possession. we're not going to be able to go out and vaccinate all the wild hogs in the world, right? Nobody's going to be able to do that. But if you catch one, we want to. I mean, a lot of us ducks are all we have. That's all we've got to hawk. So we want to be able to protect the birds so that we can continue doing that. So we're working at trying to do that, but there's a lot of regulatory hoops that we're having to juggle and jump through, and processes that just take time. And so that's one of the other things we're working on.
I guess it's not cost effective for the poultry industry to vaccinate a chicken house full of birds.
Yeah, and it's really, it's not really, right? That's why they just kill whole flocks and start over right now. That's why it's the easiest thing to do for them. But it's really more for the small, mom and pop flocks is really what they're trying to do, because there's still a lot of trade that goes on with those birds. There's still small chicken producers that sell to a larger market, and so they're trying to get the vaccine. I mean, it doesn't, just because there is a vaccine doesn't mean you have to use the vaccine. So
maybe
it'll make it available.
Breeder birds or something.
Yeah, breeder birds and things like that. So it's a smaller operations that they're targeting this proposal. For a vaccine.
Zoos would like to have it too.
Well, the zoos kind of they got the emergency last year for that. They got an emergency authorization to use the vaccine that was available, but even then, I think birds still succumbed even after being vaccinated, because we don't know the efficacy of it. So,
and then, of course, the condor population, I'm sure they would love to have something.
Yep, same thing. Yep, that's another tool in the shed, right? To use this, if we can get this developed, it can be applied to saving endangered species as well.
So that's NAFA's making a big effort to do that.
Yeah, our technical advisory committee and the conservation committee are both working in tandem to that.
Never mind, we take back everything we ever said.
Well, listen, I heard that the vaccine, it turns your whole flock, makes them autistic. So I don't know if you should use it, but anyway.
There's, what? That's the second thing, is a test for autism in chickens. I guess once they get that figured out, we'll know if it's a root cause. But
Casey, I think NAFA is only trying to develop it for longwings, though.
Yeah. So what do you care?
Yeah, they can't give it to Harris Hawks. They're immune to that, from what I hear.
No, they're not.
No, but so I want to go back though, Heath, if you don't mind. When you guys went to DC, and listen, you guys are putting forth the effort. You guys went there, had a meeting. Aaron specifically told me to make sure that I ask. He wants a transcript of what was discussed. Can you
As
you
a
explain
member of NAFA, I think I deserve the transcript.
Yeah, see, I'm not. Like, I could just walk out of the room. You could tell Aaron, because I'm not a member at the moment.
I don't care if you're a member or not. I mean, I'd be glad to talk about it, but it's really was. We made our presence known. How's that? That's all I can tell you. I know that the Migratory Bird Office folks who we work with on a regular basis and we have a good relationship with, or believe we had a good relationship with, it's been strained from years past. I mean, this is something that's going on. And I mean, I hear you guys talk to other guests all the time, and the same thing comes up about the regulatory environment. The state, from the state level to the federal level, there's been a shift over the past 20, 25 years of less conservation oriented to more preservation oriented policy implemented, and mindsets, and people that are making decisions. And that has gone all the way to the top, even in the Migratory Bird Office, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. And so we've not had a very falconry friendly environment over the past 15 years or so. And that was one of the big pushes for Martin and I to go, is to try to reestablish that good two-way communication with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, especially with a new administration in and some new blood, or should I say with the bad blood removed, because a couple of those folks that left or were forced to leave were some of our problem children in the service. So that really opened up an opportunity for us to try to rekindle that relationship that NAFA once had with U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. I mean, we used to have Migratory Bird Office folks come to the NAFA meet every year. Like they knew what falconry was about, and that's just kind of drifted away. And the folks that have been in charge over the past 10 or 15 years, just really not connected. They say they know what we're doing. They say they know what it's about. They empathize with our problem, but they really don't. They're not involved. They don't go. They're not participants. And and behind the scenes, their decision making and their policy implementation really looks like they're making every falconer out there a bad guy, and they're trying to find a way to snag somebody regulatory wise. And that's really that's not why the regulations were written. It's not how they were written or the intent of the regulations that, of course, NAFA developed in concert with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service back in the 70s. That wasn't the intent, was not to set us up, and pull an Operation Falcon every time you get a chance. It was to more or less have ourselves self-regulated and allow equal opportunity for everybody to practice the sport. And it just seems to be, over the past decade, it's made it more problematic for everybody trying to practice the sport. We wanted to change that dialogue. So that was one of the big steps and big check boxes that we had when we went, was to make sure they knew we wanted to have a good open dialogue with them. We wanted to be able to engage with them if there's a problem identified from a regulatory side of things, even on a state level of a state regulator. Because falconry is state regulated now. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife just kind of has oversight, make sure all the states are in compliance with minimum standards. So a lot of the stuff we hear about from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service are from state regulators complaining about a problem they're having with one or two falconers in their state. And it's really sad that one or two people can screw it up for all of us, because it does. But that's going to happen. Anytime you have more than 10 people in a room, someone's going to do something that everybody doesn't agree on. And anyway, so we just let them know, look, if there's a problem, we want to be involved about the solution of the problem. We don't want to be reactionary. We don't want to be reactive. We want to be proactive with the problem to solve the problem. And whether that's going to the individual or working directly with a state coordinator or regulator, as an entity, as an organization. And I think that was really well perceived and well received. And have got it on the books that we're going to meet with them twice a year, whether in person or virtually. So that's scheduled. And like I said, the big thing was trying to make sure that the director was aware that there was an environmental assessment waiting for his signature to get it put on public notice, so we can start this process and get peregrine normalized.
That's great.
I have a comment, and well, I guess they're really questions. So my sponsor, Bob Pendergrass, just pretty much universally respected guy.
Yeah.
He's a big proponent of good relationships with government officials, not getting adversarial. He says being
Absolutely.
an asshole. He says being an asshole is not going to get you anywhere. And I tend to agree with him. My nature is to agree with him. Look at Casey's face. Casey probably doesn't agree with
No,
that.
I'm the, like, what was Aaron? What was I talking to you about before the show? That I'm too nice. People are always asking me for favors. I'm always doing the favors.
Right.
I have that way about me, but it doesn't get me anywhere.
No, it doesn't. And
it doesn't. Right. And
you're right.
We're being, Mr. Nice Guy. And when I was doing a training, and listen, I was at fault, but I was doing a training exercise with my bird, and me being a Mr. Nice Guy. Hey, officers, yeah, no problem. Hey, you want to take pictures of my truck, my bag? You want to open? Oh, you want me to dump my bag out? Oh, no problem. Okay.
There with my wife. Yeah, she's in there. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Yeah. You know what I mean? And what happened? I went to court over nothing, and the prosecutor tried to throw it out, but the game warden wanted to try to stick it to me. Like, why? Okay, I'm not going to, okay, I got to calm myself down. All right. No, because when I can hear myself, and when I start doing that, I think the audience just tunes out when I go on a rant. So I'm going to stay calm. In New York, we have to do an annual report at the end of the year.
Right. We used to hear. Yeah.
Right. Which is draconian nonsense bullshit. Right. Why do I have to tell the state how many squirrels and rabbits I caught and how many days I hunted in the field? Why does not every other hundreds of other small game hunters with their shotguns have to do the same report? Why do I have to do it? What impact am I having on that? Why is that even a thing? It's nonsense. You know what I mean? And I just feel like we're just the nice guy thing. And obviously there's, I'm hesitant to say this because everyone's going to know who I'm talking about, but there's a state where somebody got a little too confrontational and it backfired. And now basically the whole state Fish and Wildlife Agency is pretty much just adversarial to falconry because of that one individual, from what I've heard and what I've been told. And I don't know if it's true or not, but I just feel like it's like grizzly bears have reached recovery levels and then some. Based off of the regulations, hunting and management should be open. But when they go to open it based off of the science and the management and the criteria that was set 15 years ago, what happens? 3 different, conservation organizations file suit against the state that if they open up the bear hunt, it's going to be a problem. And what happens? The bear hunt stays closed. And now those people get their way. You know what I'm saying? And the hunters that want to go out and the people that are getting mauled and stuff that's happening, nothing gets resolved because the people in the cities drinking their chai lattes, they don't like the idea of a bear getting shot. So it's the correlation for us as falconers is like, we have literally scientifically, mathematically, we have zero impact on the ecosystem, on anything, nothing. Yeah. Like we're literally just like pretending, as Steve Rennell would say. We're like LARPing. We're going out and having, whatever. Some of us catch quite a bit ahead and we catch our limits and stuff like that. And we're in the same realm as gun hunters. But why are we being treated like we're criminals?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, why are trappers able to sell stuff? Why are hunters allowed? Why are whitetail? We just talked about this yesterday. Why are whitetail hunters allowed to have a whole outfitting business where they make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, taking people on hunts to shoot wildlife? But if we do anything in the realm of that, we're going to get strung up by our ankles and have, and get whipped. It's just, it's very strange. And listen, I'm a nice person, but I get a little spicy, and I just feel like over the last 15 years, I just feel like they've only gotten more and more draconian with their little rules and stuff like that.
They have. That's exactly what I'm telling you. I mean, over the past 10 to 15 years, all the agencies have become, like I said, they're I'm not saying they've done it by promotion of individuals and hiring of individuals with that mentality, the preservationist, emotional decision makers. They're not looking at biology and conservation as it's intended, right? Conservation, by definition, is conservative use of a natural resource. Use, not preserve, use of a resource. And so that's the shift that's happened agency-wide. I mean, state and federal agencies. It's just happened over the past 20 years. Slowly but surely that's happened. And you're right. I mean, you feel like the only way that you can get their attention, right, is to litigate. Like, okay, well, we're just going to take your ass to court. Well, it might come to that at some point, but that's not where we want to be. Because the falconry regulations as they are, and I know that everybody's going to, there's the debate over regulations, period, right? I mean, that's the whole difference between NAFA and the AFC, right? They feel like everything's a right, and we feel like it's a privilege. It's just different mentalities. But the regulations that are in place, falconers helped develop with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service with a two-way communication. And like I said, the intent was for conservative use of birds of prey, right? And kind of self-regulate, self-police. That's the whole apprenticeship program, right? I mean, that's why it works here. And we want to make sure that the service knows we want to be in that position again. It's very difficult. Not that we're not trying, but it would be very difficult for NAFA as a national organization to do that 50 times, right? That's one reason why state organizations are so important. That's probably part of the reason that, you had Jimmy G and John DeArpino on here. That's the reason Connecticut has the problem there that they're in. They don't have a unified voice. And if you're that person that's causing problems, you know what I mean? Like, you want something changed, you don't like how something is, now you're a troublemaker. But if an organization comes together and says, we feel like this is wrong, this is what we'd like to see done, and here's what we have to back it up, then they're forced to listen. Numbers matter. The single guy screaming, he's just noise. The organization that represents the collective gets attention.
Understood.
And that's something that's the other thing that when we talked to the director of U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, that we feel like NAFA membership's dismal, just to be honest with you. There's maybe 1,350, 1,400 members.
We noticed.
There's 4,500 falconers in the U.S. roughly. Obviously not just like every place, every state, right? You've got your licensed falconers, and then you have your really practicing falconers. It's a different number. So there's roughly 4,500 licensed falconers in North America. Now, so 1,300 sounds crappy to me. But when the director Nevzik asked us how many members do we have, and we told him, and then reiterated there's roughly 4,500 falconers. He's like, shit, that's a third. That's pretty impressive. Like completely different perspective. He's like, that got his attention that we represent a third of the falconers in North America. To me, that's shitty, but from an agency perspective, it's representative.
Who said that they like that ratio?
The director Nevzik, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service director. He said that he didn't say that he liked the ratio. He just thought it was impressive that we had that membership level out of 4,500.
That number needs to go up.
It does need to go up.
It needs to go up.
There's no doubt it needs to go up, and I'm right there with you. But when you look at it from other user groups, look at it from, say, Ducks Unlimited, Pheasants Forever, Quail Forever, Sierra Club, where you've got hundreds of thousands of millions of hunters, right, that are involved in those recreational activities, and then they may only have 30, 40,000 members, right? Their percentage is way lower compared to ours. That's basically what he was trying to explain to me. He's like, their membership is nowhere near the user base that ours is. So it still doesn't impress me, but it gives me a little bit of confidence in knowing that when we say something to them that we represent the falconry community, they believe we represent the falconry community. So that's a good thing. But like we've already said, I would like to see that number closer to 2,000. And we haven't had 2,000 members, just to put it in perspective. We haven't had 2,000 members in NAFA since the Operation Falcon years. And that's because everybody was freaking worried about it and their asses on the line, and everybody had to come together and represent them, as a unison. And so that's one reason why it's kind of teetered. And I think a lot of falconers today, a lot of new guys, your age and younger, and maybe not even age wise, just falconry experience level wise and less, don't know what it took to get what we have. And it can be taken tomorrow. It can be. All it takes is one of these state people or 2 or 3 states that come together. Their coordinators don't like falconers, and they go to the service and go, we don't like this because, and shit happens, So that's,
but Heath, the way that people view it, and the way, like, I don't view it this way. I'm literally just like on the fence, and I have my concerns and the things that I gripe about, but if your website would work, I would be a member right now. It doesn't work.
Working on it. We're working on that. We're working on that, Casey.
Then I heard,
we know it.
Heath, then I heard that some people, if NAFA doesn't like them, they're in the system and they're flagged. And even if they try to join,
nobody's flagged. There's no flagging system in NAFA, I promise you.
You want to say that under oath?
Yeah, there's no flagging system. The only reason you would get flagged is if you were convicted of a crime, a wildlife crime, or a falconry crime. That would be it, because you wouldn't meet the ethics requirement.
Okay.
There's falconers that are not allowed to be members of NAFA.
Yeah, for that reason.
But why though?
I'm joking.
Oh, no. We don't want to know who. We don't know why. But
go ahead. I'm putting that out there is I've not seen this list. I don't know who these people are. That's the only reason why they would be on any list.
Right. Okay. Right. But there's, like I said, I was doing a training exercise and I had to go to court.
Dude, I've been under U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service investigation before.
Right. But what if they found something to charge you with, and then now you had
I wouldn't be freaking vice president of NAFA.
Right. But would you not be a member either?
Maybe not. I don't know.
But why though? But why though?
Well, you got convicted of breaking a law, that a falconry regulation or falconry law.
Right. But speeding is a law.
We're not talking about, catching something, over your bag limit or whatever. I mean, if you're out there, trapping birds and selling them on the black market or some shit, you're not going to be a NAFA member. I'm sorry.
No, that I agree with, but that's an egregious offense. You said if you're convicted of a wildlife crime, and if hunting
a felony.
Oh, a felony.
Yeah, felony wildlife crime. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that's different then.
Yeah. No, I'm not. I gun hunt too, right? I rifle hunt. I shotgun hunt ducks. I bow hunt. If I go out there and do a little melee with a shotgun and shoot over my limit with ducks, and I get a fine for it, I'm not going to get kicked out of NAFA. I mean, that's not what I'm saying.
Courtney, cut that clip and save it for us. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding, Keith. But like, it seems. I just have to give, because you. How do I say this?
There is no blacklist. I'm just telling you.
Okay, all right. That's okay. So we established that. But I think some of the issues that NAFA is having in growing their membership is there seems to be, I don't know how to say it because it's hard to describe. It's just like the vibe. And it just seems like people are like turned off by NAFA. It just seems like it's.
Why? Tell me why. Who
there's many different reasons.
Turned off by NAFA? Because give me one.
Okay, I could give you one that's so basic, but it. And if I was like a different kind of a person, I'd be like, ew, I don't like that. Like NAFA posts about all this stuff, and they said Happy Canada Day on their Instagram.
No. Okay. I heard.
And they don't say Happy 4th of July 3 days later.
That episode, Casey.
What are we doing here?
I listened to it, Casey. I get it. I listened to it. We had it. We listen. And this is why I said, are you ready to volunteer? We'll take you. Right? On our social media team. You want to be on the NAFA social media team?
I'm very expensive.
Get your ass signed up tomorrow, buddy. So nobody gets paid NAFA.
I'm $4.50 an hour.
I'm $4.50 an hour. Shit, I'll write you a check right now. But so we did not know that our Instagram account and the Facebook account had not been tied together. And with the fact that we have a social media committee, there's multiple people that have access to that.
Okay, but you have a social media committee. Who's on the committee?
It's like three or four people is all it is.
Was it like an 80-year-old man in his rocking chair?
It was. It was Dan Milner. He's dead now, so don't be cruel, man.
No, I'm not being cruel, but if you have a social media committee, there has to be people that are because you don't link your Facebook and your Instagram together because that lowers your reach in the algorithm. This is just if you're in that kind of a world, you know that. Well, you keep them separate.
I'm not in that one. So obviously I'm not in that world. I'm going to make it easy. I want to post something that go to both of them.
100%. But if you're trying to maximize your reach and gain as many views as you can in order to get new membership in to fund the cause that we all care about, it has to be done in a specific way. And like I said, there's some people. Okay, this is the. I have a couple.
No. All right, let me
go
finish.
Ahead. Go ahead.
There was a Happy Independence Day post on the 4th of July. It just went to Facebook and it didn't go to the Instagram. That's what I'm trying to tell you. So nobody forgot about the United States. That's all I'm trying to say.
Casey loves America. Okay.
Well, and apparently has a real problem with Canada.
No, not right now. All I said about Canada is that there's not a single man alive in Canada that I am remotely intimidated by. That's all I said.
I heard you say that. You said that to Hannah.
And I said GSP. What about him?
Yeah. He definitely counts. He definitely counts. But it's just like, that's just a stupid example. But here's the main thing. And this is the thing that turned a lot of people off. And you probably know what I'm about to say. And it turned me off to the point where I called NAFA legal counsel, who we were apprentices under the same person at the same time. And I said, what are you guys doing involving yourselves in this?
You're talking about Jamaica Smith?
I'm not talking about Jamaica Smith because that was the aftermath. And when I found that out, that even more enraged me. It was the fact that NAFA was involving themselves in a meme on a private group.
No, I get it. You're right.
I understand the repercussions of what happened in terms of groups that are anti-falconry around the entire world started harassing NAFA over that because falconers that are Hispanic decided that they were going to be offended and share it with everybody they knew as a falconer, which jeopardized and put more work on NAFA to field those complaints.
Sure.
So that became a problem. And I only knew that because I spoke with James. And James was like, do you have any idea how many calls I got? Do you know who the head of the Audubon Society called me and was saying, this is what you do as falconers. This is unacceptable. And he's trying to talk the guy down. This is just an incident, an incident that happened. And it kind of seemed like, and like I said, Heath, I understand it now because I spoke with James. And I even said to James, and this is before me and Aaron this was how many years before we even started the podcast? 4 years before. And I said, you need to go on one of these falconry podcasts and explain that. And he says, no, I don't think that, I don't think that's something that we're interested in doing. I said, well, people are like disgusted by that. and they don't understand what you just explained to me, and you should explain it. And it just didn't like, and James is James.
Yeah.
He's very
calculated.
He's calculated because he understands how when shit hits the fan, how bad it can get. So he's very calculated with what he says and does, because he knows that James is like always in battle, basically. And he knows my enemy will use this. So I can't do this because my enemy is watching. And that's really good as a very good lawyer. But from NAFA's perspective, it just alienated like hundreds of people that were like, oh, now, you heard that NAFA was going through all the likes of that meme and was removing them from NAFA. Like, people are just spreading that around, and people are like, oh my God, why would I get involved with this organization? They're like going crazy.
Well, that's not exactly how it all happened either. I mean,
I would imagine so, Heath, but I'm just saying NAFA's like, it's almost like it's in a bubble, and it's like the little NAFA bubble. And then everybody that's outside of the bubble is just kind of like doing their thing. And then NAFA's like doing their thing inside the bubble. And it's like, let's pop the bubble. Let's get everybody involved. Let's get people joined in. Let's explain why it's good. But can you tell us what happened in that situation so that people understand?
I wasn't on the NAFA board at that time.
Right. Yeah. It was before your time.
It was before my time. So, I mean, I've been vice president for 4 years, I guess now. So that was before my time, but I do know a little bit about it. I know that the NAFA executive committee at the time didn't want to do what they did, but kind of had to. They were forced to. And really what they did is...
Forced to do what? Can you explain it?
They removed that person from the... now I can't even remember. I'm going to misspeak. It's either the social media committee,
diversity committee.
The diversity committee, yes, remove them from the diversity committee. And listen, I love Jamaica. She's a great falconer. I don't have any. I mean, I used to follow that meme page. I mean, I don't anymore, but I used to some funny shit on there. Don't get me wrong, but she took offense to it and she quit because of how it was handled on removing her from that committee.
Understood. Yeah.
I don't know if it could have been done any better way. I know that there was a lot of regrets. I know that the president and vice president at the time didn't want to have to do it that way. But some kind of action had to be taken, right? As James probably told you, because otherwise it looked like we passively allowed that kind of crap to emulate.
I'm sorry, but that's like the worst possible person to engage in a meme like that is somebody involved in a diversity committee.
Exactly.
Aaron, she didn't involve herself. She liked it.
She liked it. She didn't even post it. Someone else posted it.
No, I'm not trying to add fuel to the fire. She just clicked the like button.
But what if that somebody in that position should not be liking a post like that.
Okay, so just for the audience, just so they're aware, Aaron works in a school system, so he's very in this world.
Right. Yeah.
My question,
I wasn't going to say that, but what if there was a post on social media that said, "I hate children. We should throw them into a wood chipper," and I like the post.
Yeah, it would not go well with your school administration.
How would that look? How would it look, Casey, if you liked a post that said pipes should be illegal?
Okay, that's so stupid. But my point is,
Casey,
go ahead.
The thing is, it's just like Aaron said, something had to be done because, the optics were terrible. I know she didn't post it. All she did is like it. The meme was funny. A lot of people liked it, but when you're representing a group that has a national presence or an international presence for that matter, you got to be cognizant of what you're doing on social media.
I understand that, Heath, and I have 2 points about this. Number one, the meme was a person off in the distance with an eagle leaving their glove, and it was a little like Aborigine looking person. And this is the comment I made to my wife, who's Hispanic. I said, that kind of looks like my son. And she goes, yeah, he kind of does. And I thought it was funny. So how is me having
I would probably laugh at what you said too. I mean,
and my wife is an immigrant to this country from South America. She thought it was funny. So who was losing their mind over a joke?
I don't know the answer to that. I don't know how blown up it got. I don't know if the action taken was warranted and as heavy as what they were overcoming. I don't know that.
I understand what you're saying. It's just not. And then the other thing was, it wasn't me, the guy who's obviously openly like Republican, even though I'm not happy with Republicans right now. But like, it would be different if like the white guy posted the meme. The guy, no offense to this individual, the person who posted the meme actually looked more like the person in the meme than the meme.
Absolutely.
So it's like
but he was not Mexican, though.
No, but he was also asked to not be on the committee.
No, and I understand that. And then this is my last point and my final point and my most serious point. Why on earth does a falconry organization have a diversity committee, and why is that necessary to take up attention, energy, and resources from the things that matter?
You'll be glad to know we no longer have that committee.
I guess the tides have turned. Yes. Because that's a completely unnecessary thing. And I don't know this for a fact, but I know organizations that get to a certain size, and we've been approached because me and Aaron, we're the show is a multi-million-dollar operation at this point. And we get approached by consultants that say, let's help you strategize how to present yourself to the public. But a lot of it is all done through the lens of like the modern, like, I hate to say the word because I'm just going to look like I'm in one direction or the other, but the only other word to describe it is like woke kind of thing.
Right.
And it's like, and yeah, I understand, like, we have to have sensitivity and be polite for people's feelings and stuff like that. But to a certain point, it's like, that's so completely unnecessary to the goal of NAFA as an organization. It almost just seems like it's pandering to the anti-hunting community to try to win them over and play. And this is kind of like one of the things that kind of, I think, alienates certain falconers. It's like NAFA's kind of playing nice all the time, and we're still getting our rights eroded. Like, what are we doing here? Something has to change. I'm not giving them my money until I see change. Well, is that fair? Is that something that other people are hearing?
It is. And a lot of the complaints that you've had on here, are unfounded ones too. They're talking about NAFA issues and or individuals that haven't been on the board of directors or executive committee for 20 years. They don't have any play in what's going on today. I mean, what happened in 1987 is not happening today. It's not the same people. No, but we have. I mean, I've been involved with NAFA almost my entire falconry career. I mean, I say I'm a member. I've been a member. I've never held a position in NAFA until I became vice president. I got selected to be vice president because I lost a director's election. I mean, but I've been a member and active and been to every NAFA meet that I can go to, for 35 plus years. And I can tell you right now, we have one of the best board of directors that I've ever seen in the organization. We have some of the best committees that we've ever had in this organization. And we've had the strategic planning committee going for about 2 or 3 years now, and starting to implement a lot of stuff that came out of third-party strategic planning consultation. We're working on trying to get the website cleaned up. We know it's got problems. It's going to help a lot to get that thing more functional and user-friendly. We're working on that. The other thing is going through and finding out what committees that we have had in the past that either are redundant or serve no purpose. And all of us who know, more than the falconers across the room, know that falconry in itself is probably the most diverse group of individuals in the world. We don't need a DEI committee. It's already that way. We have more women, more minorities. I mean, there's no reason for it. If you want to be a falconer, you're going to be a falconer. If you want to be a NAFA member, we'll take your damn money. I mean, I don't care what color or sex or whatever. Nobody does. There's no reason to have it. It was a waste of time. The other thing we're doing is absorbing stuff. We've had some, several committees and subcommittees in the past. Those are all getting absorbed into either, one committee or done away with entirely because there's no feasible need for them, right? They're not going to accomplish anything. And getting warm bodies that are functional. This, what NAFA is a 100% volunteer organization. Nobody in the organization gets a paycheck. Nobody. So finding volunteers to do all the stuff, to have, 6 different committees, you're not going to get anybody anyway. They're just a name. It's just a label to have and nothing.
Right.
So don't do it. That was another one of those things. So anyway, that's all getting changed. I think we got a great conservation committee now. Conservation is a huge foundational element, of NAFA. We've got some of the best biologists in the country, some of the best raptor biologists in the country that are falconers that are on the conservation committee. Some of them are executives within the Raptor Research Foundation as well. Been involved with P-Fund also. I mean, we've got a great group, and I think we're going to see some amazing things happen within the next 2 or 3 years with, number one, administration change within the country, politics, and the politics within the agencies. Hopefully we're seeing a shift there where we're going to actually see some things happen and get some traction,
I hope so, because we need it. And sorry, Aaron, I know you had something lined up, but
You've been talking your fucking ass off.
1 second. I got something locked and loaded in the chamber. Is NAFA spending money on this consultation that you said that there's you had a
No, their time was volunteer. They were NAFA members also. They're new. This year was a new NAFA member. We did pay money on the first one 10 years ago.
Right.
We had another strategic planning thing about 10 years ago where the board did pay, I think, $5,000 or something for a consultant.
Right. Yeah. You could piss that money down the drain, basically.
Pretty much. Yeah. That
No offense, but that's the thing about this is why my mom would push me as a kid. Go falconry. You like falconry? Okay, let's get you in it. And as soon as she started talking to people to make sure they weren't going to like molest me in the woods, and like she started to realize there is such a diverse group of people here. We have Maynard's a friggin' high-powered lawyer. We got Phil's a school teacher. Paul's a friggin' tech executive. Why on earth would you pay when you have members or potential members, falconers in the country? Just off the top of my head, Jones Falconry, 1 million followers, or he's almost going for 2 million now on YouTube. You have other people that are just like exploding in popularity and views, and people are engaging with their stuff. Like, why not try to leverage them? Like, why not try to say, hey, what do you think about making a couple things to try to educate, the general public and people just about and not to join NAFA necessarily, but just to share that this is what we're doing. And and listen, I'm not going to say who he was, but we had actually breakfast and then dinner with the Peregrine Fund high level. I'm not going to say who he is because you know who he is. And he said that Peregrine Funds, things are not good right now.
Yeah.
It's good on paper, but they've lost the cause. The mission is lost. They're more concerned with what banquet dinner they're going to possibly help gain, more funding or whatever. They've lost sight of this thing. And another falconer who's a very well-known falconer, he said that he was not happy with the Peregrine Fund when the bird that they were going to focus on was that like stork bird that like kills lizards or something. And he's like, what the hell is that bird? Why are we focusing on that? There's so many other birds that we could be focusing on that would bring so much more attention.
Secretary bird.
And they're super cool bird. They're super cool bird.
And they are predatory raptor. So.
Oh yeah, I would. If you tell me if I could have one, I'll have one in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I'm just saying there just seems to be like, and don't take this disrespectfully. I'm sorry, Heath, I'm rambling. I'm going to shut up in a second.
I don't work for the P Fund or so whatever.
No, I know that. It just seems like that it's, and this is fine, right? And this is like I'm a plumber. I work for many different companies, multi-million-dollar companies, and it's the guys that are successful that don't go out of business, and I've been working for them for almost 20 years, and I'm friends with all of them still. The guys that said to their nephew or their son, help me with this website thing, help me with this social media thing. Those are the guys that are literally, they got 15 more trucks on the road since I've left them and I'm in my own business now, because they were like, things are changing. We have to adjust ourselves and we have to go forward. And it just to me as an outsider, right? It just seems like NAFA's kind of like stuck in like, and no offense to you, but this was like, oh, just, Hawk Chalk is coming out tomorrow. Make sure that or whatever, make sure that you sign up to get your Hawk Chalk. Like most kids these days, they don't care about Hawk Chalk. And we have new falconers coming in every day. They need something more like right in front of them, getting them excited about it. And that's just my opinion. So I'm going to shut up.
No, I get it. I get it.
That's what Casey really wants to volunteer.
He does. Casey really needs to join, and then he wants to be on the social media committee so he can take care of the Instagram and Facebook. You're exactly what we're looking for, Casey.
No, I'm not, because I'm not even that good at it. I got a couple thousand. I'm not,
Well,
some of these guys are really good at it. Some of them really know what they're doing.
Listen, I'm not disagreeing with anything you say, and we know that. We know this. But again, everybody that's running this organization is a volunteer. We all have regular daytime jobs. We all have families. We all want to fly our birds too. There's only so many hours in the day, right? So although we're working on these things and trying to improve these things, it's not going to be done overnight. And a lot of it, there's growing pains because, I'm 54 years old. I'm not a fucking techie, so I don't know how to do all this stuff. I got to figure it out, Some of the folks that are on those committees are younger and know what's going on. But you know what? They got so many other things going on the side. It's hard to get them to dedicate the time, So you got all these, there's a lot of moving parts that make this happen, and it would be nice. This would be nice, right? If we had 2,500 members, maybe we could pay for an assistant, a paid position to make sure all the shit gets done. You know what I mean? But we're not there. And,
but there's obviously, Aaron, just tell me to shut up.
Go for it, bro.
So just out of curiosity, and I know this is a tradition from like whenever NAFA started, and I love them. Teddy Moritz gave me a whole box of Hawk Chalks that she was in, and they're like, from like the original days, I got them saved, and I'm gonna, when I get older and I'm in a rocking chair.
Photocopied version stapled together with cardstock on the front and back.
Yeah, and I have a Harris Hawk, and I'm feeble, and I can't actually fly goshawks anymore. I'll sit down and read them, but they're awesome to have. But that has to be an expensive thing.
It's the most expensive thing we do.
Okay. And I'm not saying to get rid of it. And I don't think you should. I really don't. I think it's one of the things that people look forward to. But I just think that like that's a lot of money going towards that. Like it's like a gloss, color, everything's color. Like that's got to be like a $10,000 a year thing to produce that. It has to be. There's no way it's any less than that.
You are correct.
Okay. And it's
about 10,000. It's about 10,000 an issue.
Really? 10,000 issue, and it comes out what? Every quarter?
Yeah.
So you're talking like $50,000 a year for a magazine?
Like 40, yeah.
Why?
Because that's what it costs.
No, I understand that. It also costs, me and Aaron, we could hire, a producer for the show. That's going to cost $60,000 a year to have somebody schedule us and get people on. But like it doesn't make sense for us right now. And I'm not saying it doesn't make sense for you because NAFA's been around for a long time. But like if you had $40,000 extra a year to spend on an ad campaign or to produce a video for YouTube that could reach millions of people around the world about what you guys are doing, like I understand the members love to read it and then put it on the shelf, but is that really a good investment of the money? I'm just saying, and I'm not in that world. You know what I mean?
I get it. And that's valid debates, right? But a lot of people that join NAFA, that's what they really think they're getting for their money.
Yeah, but they're like,
it's a magazine.
They're like 80 years plus when they're, like 70, 80 years old on average, if that's what you're thinking.
No, I'm just saying when people join NAFA, they're joining it for the magazines because there's no other falconry magazine out there to get.
The magazine is badass.
And they're not just, well, I shouldn't say that. Some issues leave a lot to be desired, but most of the time there's informative stuff in there. A lot of times there's a lot of methodology and intuition that's, explored, and training techniques and hunting techniques, and people rely on those for reference, right? And use them to apply to their falconry wherever they are. That's the only way they get the information. Yes, it could be done only digitally. We have talked about that. And that would save the money you're talking about and still have something produced. But we haven't reached that hump yet in that trajectory because of, just like you said, our membership demographics. They're not necessarily digital savvy.
Right.
So
but
that's going to take a little bit of time to get there. And before that's going to be accepted, right? This is what you get to look at it on a screen. You know
right.
I mean?
But Heath, accepted by who though? By who?
Membership as a whole.
Right.
Membership. Listen, you got to realize, Casey, that NAFA is a 501c7 organization. That is a membership organization. The members drive the organization. The members vote for the board of directors. The board of directors selects the president and vice president. Okay. The membership votes on what happens. So when we put out there, hey, you want to see the hawk chaw go away? You're not going to get that vote.
Right. But if you said we're going to knock it back to twice a year, you're going to get an awesome magazine and we're going to recap each 6 months and we're going to take that extra $20,000 fucking dollars and we're going to dump it into getting the other 3,500 fucking people in the country that are flying birds of prey to join the organization and reach out to them and connect with them on their level and get their membership money. And then we can all drive Lamborghinis.
I think that's great. And that's another reason you need to be a member so you can write a letter to Jimmy G and have him do a formal proposal as such to the board so it can be voted on.
I'm texting Jimmy G right now. He wants to know if we're going too hard on you.
Are you a member?
Heath, I told you this. I've tried like 17 times.
Casey, I know you know our membership secretary. She can get your shit done if you call her.
I called her. I talked to her on the phone for about an hour and 45 minutes. And we had an awesome talk. And then she said, I changed your password. I changed everything. Sign in. I signed in the next day. It did not work. And I said, forget it. And I forgot about it.
You quit that easy. I mean, come on. I thought you were a little stronger headed than that, Casey.
Right. Right, Heath. Right. I understand that. But the average member
is not going to keep doing it. I get it.
If they see something on Instagram, they're not going to go on the person's website and try to buy it. They're going to open up Amazon where their credit card is already saved and they're going to see if it's on Amazon so they can click 2 buttons and it's in their cart and it's at their house the next day.
Yeah. Amazon's run by a billionaire. We don't have any of those.
No, I'm just making a point that it's people don't want to work. And I'm guilty as this also. You want to make it as easy as possible for people to join and to get their money because that's what it's about. And it's not in a greedy way. It's to fund the cause.
Sure. I get it.
Go ahead, Aaron. I'm going to shut up now.
Casey's point, his overarching point is that he feels like NAFA could do a lot more to attract this big group of falconers out there that aren't NAFA members.
And we know that and we agree. And we're slowly working on that. I've personally tried to take over a lot of the social media posts that have been going on. I'm trying to make sure we're not underrepresenting ourselves on Instagram, and so whatever goes on Instagram goes on Facebook. And we're trying to develop a YouTube channel so that we can post these things about what we're doing, at least on a quarterly basis where people can see it on YouTube and, have either myself or Martin on there talking about what we're doing, what we're working on. This is what's priority for this, next couple of months or whatever. But again, everybody's a volunteer and we can only do what we can do. And so it's a growing pains process that we're working through. I wish we could say we're going to do it tomorrow and everything's going to be better, but it just doesn't work that way.
All we can do is try. I'm sending the Southeast director. I'm sending him a message right now. A cheap option for people who don't care about the magazine.
We already have that.
How much is it?
It's still, there's not, still the same price essentially though. It's not a cheap option to get just the digital magazine. Now, listen, what you're proposing is that we cut revenue for membership to make money to spend on membership.
Well, right? I understand it's more I'm sure it's more complicated than me and Casey think. But if somebody wanted to join NAFA and they go, I don't want anything, I'm just going to financially support NAFA and be a member of NAFA. And it's $10 a year or whatever, I'm just throwing some random cheap number out.
Yeah.
That's it. It's just a cheap number. You get nothing for it, right? Other than you're a member of NAFA. So you get a voice. You can buy in to have a voice into the organization for a low price. But you get no magazine. You don't get any swag. You don't get a sticker. You just get emails from the director.
You won't even get a vote. You don't even get to vote.
What do you mean?
Only regular members can vote.
Well, yeah. Why can't you be a regular member for cheap and not get a magazine?
Because a regular member's paying the regular member price to be a regular member.
Okay, yeah, but
and they can still opt to not get the magazine. I mean,
so do you think NAFA's cost prohibitive for people who are like, I don't care about
it's
the magazine?
It's $60 a year. That's twice as much as Ducks Unlimited, who has how many hundreds of thousands of members at $35? It's $60 a year, dude. I mean, you blow that much out of a fucking gas tank going around looking for a red
Falconers. I don't know if you knew this, but Falconers are cheap.
Well, you know what?
Now, when it comes to our merch, they spend their money on our merch.
Tell you what, you get what you pay for, and if you want it for free, you'll get nothing in return.
Trust me, Heath. I'm a believer in that. It's evidenced by my $300 Western Sporting perch sitting behind me. I totally agree with you, but I wonder if you could attract people by being less expensive.
Well, there's been a lot of talk about that, and there's been some adjustments through the past few years, and all that stuff has to be voted on by membership also, because it's changing everything. Well, I should say that if it's by a certain percentage, it has to be voted on by membership. So we've got a little bit of latitude with the board to be able to vote as a board on adjusting a membership level. But why do you I mean, I guess you could do that. I mean, we have an associate membership level. And then we have the regular membership level, but which are different price points, right? But as an associate member, can't vote.
Yeah. Well, what's the point in joining as an associate?
Well, you get a magazine.
The move is not about the price point, nothing like that. For me personally, and I was even this way as a kid. That was like, I didn't even know about life or nothing. I was just riding my redtail and my handlebars to the woodlot to go catch squirrels. I didn't care about anything more than flying my birds and making sure that I could always fly my birds. So that right there, Casey, is what your $60 pays for. No, I know that, Heath, but you have to get the point across to Joe Blow just hanging out, scrolling through Instagram, flying his bird.
Okay.
It has to be very like these people are very and we're all the same way. It's like we're getting mutated by social media. We don't have time to read through anything. We need to a video has to pop up. It's got to be like a cute girl in like a NAFA tank top. And she's like, so this is what we're doing at NAFA. And they're like, oh, dang, yo, what's up, girl?
You know what? The diversity and inclusion group would not go for that. But
that's why they need to be fired immediately.
Yeah. Anyway. All right. This is the problem. This is the problem, right? Okay. Listen. You're saying this is an opportunity. You're voicing this as an opportunity to get more membership, right? By making a cheaper membership level, right? That's what you're saying.
Maybe it's a thought.
So when I do that,
I genuinely ask you, do you think
$1,400 members that are paying their $60 a year, right? That's what I have to operate off of. That and whatever raffles and fundraisers we have, right? Which pretty much just go to help pay for our meat, which is actually the most important, most expensive thing we do every year is the field meat. Second to the magazines. If we do this and let's say, you know what? You don't want the magazine, you can opt out for $20. You can be a voting NAFA member. Well, shit. What if we only get 100 more members and now we have 1,500 people paying $30 less a year than they were. Now our operating budget just dropped by a huge percentage. And we're not any better off. We can't afford to pay for us to go to DC and meet with anybody. We can't afford to make a publication for the people that still want one. I mean, there's a lot there on the line. And the reason the price is what it is because even at 4,500 members, we're barely going to be scraping by.
Yeah, you're paying for that expensive ass magazine with that money. To Casey's point earlier.
No, I get it. And if we can figure out a way to cut costs on it, we will.
And the old timers that figured out how to turn this dang podcast app on to hear this are probably freaking out right now. Don't get rid of my magazine. Like, I'm just saying, you got to spend money to make money. And if you need members and your membership is low, you have to understand that there's new falconers coming in every year. I got people hitting me up. They can't even get an inspection on their mews because the state in New York or whatever state is so backed up and they can't get it. But they're like, there's people coming in like crazy to falconry.
I get it.
And it's like, you have to understand that it's like, I know you want to keep the NAFA membership happy. And I've heard this term more times than I can count in reference to NAFA. It's the good old boys club. They keep it the way they like it. And they don't like any change.
No,
and
there's no good old boys club anymore.
Right. I'm just saying it's like, I understand that there's people that look forward to that magazine every month. And I'm not saying they can't get rid of it.
Every quarter. Yeah.
Every quarter. Right. But is there a way, like me and Aaron, we did this podcast. We're doing it out of love. We're now, multimillionaires, and that's fine. But the way that we fund the podcast is we spend money on artists and we go back and forth with them and we pay them well to come up with cool design ideas to make cool merch that we can then sell for a slight profit to then fund the whole operation. And that's how we do it. And I understand that NAFA is a different kind of thing, but I just think if you, like, I'm not a consultant, right? I'm just saying it's working for us. We flew private last month to go, to Australia, and it is what it is. No, I'm just kidding. But there's many different ways to skin a cat. And I think just getting people to sign up so they can get a magazine every quarter.
That's not what we're doing. I mean, that's the misconception. That's the problem. Your membership is not getting you a magazine. That's a benefit of being a member. And
I think there's a lot of people that's what they feel like they're getting.
That's exactly what I said earlier. And that's the misconception. And that's what we need, all these new falconers that Casey's talking about that are coming in, that are hungry for information. They need to realize that it's not a right that's just there waiting for them to do this, that somebody freaking put the sweat equity in so they have the opportunity to do this. And if they want to support that organization that put that sweat equity in and maybe contribute themselves, you got to be a member.
Right.
That's what it comes down to. That
mindset, and this is no disrespect to you, Heath, but the way that you phrase that, like, these people don't care. Like, I'm a master plumber in New Jersey, and there's associations that are emailing me every month, join our plumbing association. We're defending, because there's the lobby for electricians. They want to put electric water heaters in and take the whole work from us. Like, there's these little things that are going on in just my thing alone.
I get it. So how many falconry organizations are doing that?
Well, it's you and the Falconry Conservancy, and then
what's the Falconry Conservancy doing? What they're doing, from what we've learned, is they're pissing off people in Washington.
Right, but now in New York, you can go to a school and you can give a speech and you can charge whatever you feel like charging. And then what else did they do, Aaron?
They're suing.
Right, but like at a certain point, our rights are only getting eroded, and it's like at a certain point, it's time to put the foot down and say, "Listen, we had a good relationship before. You guys suing?
California.
They sued California, and they won, and it was actually an insanely huge win.
Yeah, you mean the one that NAFA wrote the amicus brief for?
I'm not aware of that.
Okay,
yeah, we're not privy to this, but
and neither is anybody else.
Has NAFA taken part in a lawsuit?
Not in any time recent, no. But why would you do that if we can get it worked out?
At what point do you say, you know what, things aren't moving our direction, we need to change course?
If and when an agency does anything that is not according to their policy and procedure, that's when it would happen. If they try to go a roundabout way to make a regulation change without any public notice or input, you'll see a lawsuit. But we're not going to frivolously sue them because we're not getting what we want.
I understand that, and I agree with that. You don't want to start attacking people, and yeah, I get it. There's repercussions. They could take it out on individuals, make things harder. But at the end of the day, Connecticut hasn't been able to trap any wild raptors since the beginning of time.
NAFA is trying to work in support of that, but that's all NAFA can do. I mean, we can't go in there not being Connecticut falconers and go, look, Connecticut, you're our fuck ups and you're doing this all wrong. This is how you need to do it. The falconry community in Connecticut needs to do that.
Right, but what if there's four of them? What if there's 4 or 6 of them, and they're all a bunch of nincompoops? Like at a certain point, that you don't think.
Then who are we changing it for?
Heath, you don't think that there's other state anti-falconry organizations that are seeing that Connecticut can't trap their own raptors, and they're not pitching that to New York, New Jersey, Rhode Island, saying, "Hey, listen, they don't trap birds. Why should we allow these people to trap our birds? They should stop trapping birds."
What? The point is that you've been able to trap birds. I'd like to see them pitch that and see what happens.
No, I understand that, but I'm saying they're trying every day to screw us. And this, I personally feel that it sets a precedent that could be used down the road to try to erode other states' rights.
Well, you're right. It could, but the problem is that you've got 1 out of 50 states. So that's not a precedent. That's an outlier. So
it is a precedent. It only takes 1. We know that.
No, because they didn't change it. It's been that way.
I understand that.
If they had changed it, then that's a precedent. The problem was when those regulations were set up for Connecticut, when they legalized falconry, it wasn't set up properly. Whoever the hell was involved in that write-up screwed the pooch. And that we do need to fix it. I'm not saying we don't need to, but I can't just drive up there to Connecticut legislature and get in front of them and tell them you need to change this.
I found that if you grab Maynard, you grab James, and you wind him up like this, and then you point him in the direction that you want him to
let it go,
and you let him go. He attacks, and then whatever you want, you get, and then you get money in your bank account, and then you're rich.
Yeah,
that's
okay.
Just my personal experience.
That's your experience.
That's just my personal experience.
I hope James heard that.
I'm sure he did. Now, James is a good guy, and he does a lot for falconry behind the scenes that more people should know about.
Yeah, he's fantastic. But again, and James will probably back me up here. We can only provide the technical support for the effort started by the state users. That would be the Connecticut falconers. They have to ask them if they can formally get in front of them, or even schedule getting in front of legislators for the change. We're right there, and we'll give them the ammunition they need. But they are this representative citizens that it affects, so they have to do it.
I 100% agree with that. But like I said, there's very few of them. They're from the vibe that I'm getting, they are extremely demoralized, and they don't really know where to start. And they need some direction, and they need some push.
That's probably where we can help. You know what I mean? That's where we can get James involved, and we can maybe, like you said, we won't wind up James, but we'll point him in the right direction, and maybe he can drag them through the mud, and get there. Because that's really what we've got to. What I think that Connecticut needs to do, they need to find out the mechanism, right, to get that changed, and then once they figure out the steps taken, then we help them take those steps. But we're not a NAFA is not a lobbyist group. We're not a legal representation fund. You know what I mean? We're just not. We're a membership organization, and we represent what our members want to do. And I get it. Connecticut wants to do this, but again, that's a matter that they need to take on their shoulders, and we'll help them carry it. That's all we can do.
I've got I want to address 2 things that I tend to beat the dead horse on these 2. And it's genuine questions I want to know. So what are we going to do about eagle access?
We addressed that in Washington, D.C. also. We even brought up arbitrarily talking about changing the Bald Eagle Protection Act and regulations to help possibly have captive breeding allowed of golden eagles. And basically we were told not a snowball's chance in hell.
Why is that?
I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. The big thing though is changing an act is a lot harder than recommending regulations. I mean, they're talking about a congressional act that would have to be changed. So that would be very difficult to get the powers, collected to do that. Now, what we did learn in talking about eagles, though, is that the Ranchers Association really likes the depredation program, so much so that they would like to see more eagles taken on depredation permits. So it's a step in the right direction. It's an opportunity for NAFA to team with another organization, the ranchers organizations, and try to get this promoted through the USDA, who actually regulates those depredation permits. And I think the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service would sign off on it. So we're hopefully going to get a little more leverage, I guess, with allowing more depredation eagle take. I don't know that we're ever going to see captive golden eagle availability in the near future anyway.
That's disheartening.
The population is dropping, and I think until it gets to super scary numbers, they're not going to consider it. How's that? Because we could utilize that for augmenting the wild population like we did with peregrines. It would be a much more involved process because of the life history of eagles. It's just a lot, it's a lot longer weaning time, so to speak. They spend a lot more time in family groups. So, you can't just put them on a hacking tower and turn them loose, right? There's a little bit more involved, but I think as long as we've got plenty of eagles, they're not going to consider that.
Okay. So my initial attack would be, we're only allowed to take eagles from one state. Every other lamb operation in the entire country, they're out there shooting eagles.
Yeah, that's the whole premise. I mean,
right. Contact those ranching associations, show them what we've done in Wyoming, get on board. You don't have to shoot them. Don't worry about it. Just give one of our members a call. We'll have come out. We'll do a survey. We'll monitor it. We'll put eyes on the fact that they're predating lambs, and then we'll let you know. Don't shoot it. We'll get a falconer out here with a permit. He'll remove it. Done deal. Like this just to me, it just seems easy. I don't, you know what I mean? It's a lot of legwork, but it seems like it's not that hard to do.
It's a lot of legwork, and again, it's all volunteer legwork, basically.
Right. Whoever's typing up that magazine, let's put him to work on it. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I mean, if they were to allow, if they were to diversify into other states and their different ranching organizations to allow depredation take, you'd have to have that many more people doing that stuff on the ground you're talking about for documentation purposes. And it's a heavy lift. I mean, with the 6 birds that we have now, it's a heavy lift.
It's probably easier for these organizations to shoot eagles than it is for falconers to trap them.
It is, which is sad. You know what? I mean, they really ought to just be able to pick up a phone and go, "Hey, are you a falconer? Will you come get this eagle?" That should be that easy.
Right, but litigation can't help with that. You are literally killing our wildlife. We would like the opportunity to remove it humanely. We don't like this
litigation. Look at the wind industry and how many eagles they kill a year. And have you seen the Eagle Act change yet? No.
Right.
They got all the money in the world to throw at it, and they hadn't changed anything.
100%. I completely understand that, but I'm looking at it as wind farms are killing eagles, ranchers are killing eagles, and some ranchers are probably requesting permits to kill the eagles. A game warden is driving out there on the state's dime to inspect it and say, yeah, an eagle did kill this. Here's your permit to put a hole in this eagle's head. Like, it just seems a lot easier and more like with the times to have a falconer who is passionate about these birds to go out there, remove the eagle and train it for falconering and maybe release it in the future. It just seems like a really easy sell for like the kind of like climate we're in as a country.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it does, but it's just a lot harder to get that. The reason they can do that, they go out there and give them a permit to shoot the eagle, because there's a permit that says they can shoot the eagle. I mean, just like we can get a permit that says we can go trap a bird and fly it and hunt it. I mean, we don't have to defend it. We have a permit right here that says I can do it. So
what's stopping us from being able to, I mean, I know what's stopping, but why can't we proactively trap eagles instead? Like if the state of Wyoming issued 20 permits to just go trap eagles, it doesn't have to be in a predation situation.
Well, that's a whole change of the act. The only reason we can get what we have is through the depredation program. And so in order for it to be qualified under their depredation program, it has to check all the boxes, dot all the I's, and cross all the T's for the USDA.
Didn't it used to be easier for falconers to get golden eagles?
Well, yeah, before everything was regulated, it was easier to get everything.
You could get them out of a magazine, Aaron.
Within our lifetimes, right? Since the 80s, right?
Yeah, I mean,
I wasn't a falconer.
You could, but I mean, it's right now. I'll just tell you right now, because I do work for I'm a consultant and I do a lot of work with the renewable energy groups and clients. Right now, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service has a zero take eagle policy. That means nobody's allowed to kill any of them. Of course, with the exception of ranchers who get a permit to go out there and kill them.
Right. But that's my point. That permit, that's your precedent right there. In Wyoming, they're giving 5 permits for falconers. How many other permits? Let's find out. Can we do a FOIA request to find out how many other permits are being issued to shoot them?
It is a valid argument, Casey. But a lot of times I've heard you guys talk with other guests too. We're talking about what we actually do with raptors, with wild take, right? We catch a bird, we fly it for a couple of years, we let it go. The way the Game and Fish, and whether you use Fish and Wildlife or Department of Natural Resources, and whatever the entity is, the way wildlife management models work is when we trap a bird, it is a harvest, just like you shot that deer. It is gone. It's dead. There's no input. It doesn't go back in the system. It's gone. So you getting a permit to trap that eagle on the paper is no different than going to shoot an eagle. That's the sell you're up against. Because
I think it's easier
when you're doing the whole, fecundity and mortality and harvest. It's gone. That's all that matters. It doesn't matter how it's gone. It's gone. So that's what you're up against.
I understand. I completely understand what you're saying. I'm just playing devil's advocate, and I'm trying to think of what people falconers throughout the country are thinking. And I'm trying to press you a little bit, but not too hard.
How many people do you think really want to fly a golden eagle?
If I could get an eagle, I'd get an eagle. I'd just slay Canadian geese on golf courses in Bergen County all day. What, are you kidding me? I mean, Jersey you can't have an eagle at all in Jersey, but I'm just saying, I think a lot of people, if it was opened up and there was an opportunity, I think people would put in the effort.
It's really hard to keep an eagle alive in humid states, just so you know.
I think a North American goshawk is pretty hard too.
Well, it is. And I've done it for a long time. So
I have heard a lot of people put in every year for the eagle lottery and never get it.
Well, 6 get it every year.
6 out of what? 100 maybe?
I don't think it's that many. It might be 20.
Yeah, but wouldn't it be nice if there was enough for everyone that wanted one?
Yeah, I guess. But then, realistically, this is the problem. The International Eagle Offspringer Association, who, NAFA works with frequently, and the whole Golden Eagle group, like if you want to call them that actively hawk golden eagles. There's a problem with the people getting on these eagles and they're not being flown. So if you just open it up to everybody, then you have that risk too. So you've got 20 people going to get eagles, but really only 4 really are going to hunt an eagle. And then you get the optics of that, right? So you got these people who have this golden eagle and they're keeping it in their backyard and they don't do shit with it. And it's,
It's not an argument. It's not an argument. It's an argument coming from an elitist point of view, because eagle falconers, they think they walk on fucking water, and it makes no sense because there's plenty of falconers that get a red tail. They go hawking a couple times, they get scratched by a thorn, and now they have a red tail in their backyard for the next 20 fucking years. So these eagle falconers can shove it. They can shove it. That's what I mean?
I think the issue is that they've got a lot smaller number of eagles than you do with everybody else that's a pet keeper out there. I don't disagree with you, Casey. It's no different really, but
you have eagle falconers that have multiple eagles as well.
Yeah. I'm just kidding. Eagle falconers, like you guys, I kiss the ground and walk. I'm just joking. Okay. Relax. Everybody relax.
So, all right. So
no, their intentions are good, right? But you're right. It's no different.
It seems special. It does seem like you don't have much enthusiasm for going after the eagle thing.
it's not that I don't have the enthusiasm. I just know how tall that mountain is to climb, and we have other priorities that are attainable.
Heath, have you received any payment from the energy organizations to stifle anything? Because you said you work closely with them. Are you captured by the
no.
any organizations?
No.
Hey,
just kidding.
And while we're on the conspiracy subject, you know the movie and the comic, The Watchmen.
Yeah.
They staged that whole alien invasion to unify Earth. So maybe NAFA needs to stage some sort of Operation Falcon.
Oh, yeah, that would be good, right? That would go over real good when that hit the fan, wouldn't it? We'd have members lining up.
Uh-huh.
You hear what they did? Those lying sons of bitches? Yeah, okay.
No. All right, so the subject of eagles.
Eagles are always on our plate, but like I said, it's just a much harder mountain to climb, and we've got other things we can get done that are within reach.
The peregrines, though, I mean, if we want a peregrine, we can go get a peregrine.
Exactly.
But you guys are putting energy towards the normalization of it, which I think is a good thing. Don't hear me wrong. But it doesn't feel as urgent as some of the other issues.
Like what? Eagles?
Eagles.
You think eagle issue's bigger? I don't think so. I think more people want to access to peregrines than they do eagles.
And as it stands, they can go get them.
Not necessarily.
There's a bunch of states where they can put in a permit. There's 5 a year. In New Jersey, sometimes we're like looking for people. Hey, did you put in this year? Make sure you fill it because we want to make sure it's filled. It's not like people are beating the door down to get peregrines.
No, you're exactly right. Which is the whole rationale for normalization. We're not taking any more than we are. We're taking far less than we are of any other species of peregrines. So
you guys are putting energy towards something that.
But why should it be? But why, Aaron, in your argument for the eagles, why should it be regulated any more than any other raptor?
It shouldn't be.
Exactly. That's what normalization is.
So after peregrines, it's moving towards normalization of eagles. We got to get you long wingers what you want. We know you guys run NAFA, the long wingers.
That's what it is.
Yeah, I mean, it really seems that way. There's no NAFA meet that's not 40 hours away from my freaking house. Like it's all geared towards the west. It's always
been in the central U.S., man. It's always been that way. That's just the way it is. And I got to drive 12 hours. You got to drive 23. Somebody from California's got to drive 20 hours. I mean, it's just part of it.
Casey, I think he's correct about that. It is in the middle of the United States.
Always been in the middle.
And that's where the cool game is, too.
It's where the diversity of game is. It has nothing to do with just long wings. Like we want to make sure we have everything for everybody. We got to have rabbits. Now squirrel hawking is huge, right? So now we're looking to make sure we've got squirrel hawking opportunities. And then we got to have duck hawking, and then we've got to have some quail for the short wingers. And, it's everything. I mean, and we're trying to find locations where those opportunities exist for everybody, not just now. I'm not going to, sugarcoat it. There are some locations where it's more conducive one way or the other. You'll hear it's a long winger meet or it's a short winger meet, just because of the prevalence of whatever quarry is available at that location. But we try to make it where it's relatively even. The biggest problem we have, Casey, is not necessarily drive time. The biggest problem we have is venue for 300 people and 300 birds and maybe 500 dogs. There's not too many damn places left in the U.S. you can put that whole mess together. You know what I mean? I mean, that's a lot to digest, and getting a contract with a hotel or a convention center that will allow that is not everywhere you go. And then you have on top of that, just land access. When you have 300 people all hunting different quarry, there's not, you go east, even some points go west and have that venue. You don't have the real estate available for everybody. And then they're all on top of each other. It's just you're not going to win. That's what I'm trying to tell you. There's just no way to make everybody happy with everything.
No,
the biggest limitation we're finding today is venue more than it is location.
Well, I heard you guys had a really nice venue last year, but there was no game to catch.
No, it wasn't. It was a couple of years ago.
Oh, it was 2 years ago in Oklahoma?
Oh, the one at Quartz Mountain?
Yeah, it was like a really nice place to go.
That was a super nice resort. And you know what? It was a lot harder to find game, but I caught game there.
That's because you had a goshawk.
Exactly. And there are a lot of people with goshawks. a lot of people Harris hawks.
I'm trying to figure out if I can drive out there. I probably won't be. We probably stop me at the security will stop me at the door and tell me I have to leave. but I was thinking about making the drive out there, and I'm trying to find out, is there actually going to be game at this
and Enid, I think the game looks good this year. They've had good rains there in that part of the state, so there's been a lot of really good habitat response. Supposedly, we've got a good mix of everything. There's rabbits, there's squirrels, in town. There's a little bit of a drive to get in jackrabbits. There's ducks, pheasants, quail, so it's really going to be a goshawker meet, really and truly. But long wingers will probably be a little more restricted where it is this year because it's going to be primarily ducks. But there are pheasants too. If you go a little bit to the west, you can get into pheasants. So
sorry, I keep clicking the wrong button. But I mean the long wingers are catching like what, 10% of the game at NAFA meets basically anyway.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Okay. No, I'm just kidding. It's a little jab, but
yeah.
No, I've never been to one
last year. I mean, last year it was in where were we last year? Shit, Kansas last year. Yeah. I mean, I caught cottontails and bobwhite and ducks and everything. So, and this is actually Enid, Oklahoma is only like 45 minutes to an hour from Kansas. So if you want to get a Kansas license, you could just drive to Kansas every day too and hawk. I mean, it's really close. So
yeah, I'm seriously considering it. It's not even that far. It's just I got children and a business and my wife, and gotta manage all that.
My wife went. She's probably listening to me right now. My wife went to her first and only NAFA meet in 2003. Said she's been there, done that, won't do it again. So.
I've got another topic I want to ask you about. Importing birds from other countries. Is NAFA interested in that at all?
I don't know that we're not interested. I just don't think it's necessarily a priority. It seems to be that people want birds are getting them. So
I don't know. You need to talk to Dave Canellis and Tom Cullen about the challenges of trying to bring birds in, even from England. You could buy them, but I'm sure you've been around long enough. How, the hurdles of that.
Yeah. I mean, I know a little bit of it. I mean, CITES permits and everything else, get in the way, and then quarantines and things like that are additional issues. But I don't know that's not something I can personally speak to. I don't, I'm not saying that NAFA is disinterested in it. I just don't know of anything brought to our attention by any members wanting any assistance with anything. And I'm not sure what the issues are, if we can do anything about it. I just don't know. I'm ignorant about that.
All these issues are complicated, and I'm no expert on either issue that I brought up, but it does seem to be a problem. It would be nice if it was as easy as buying a dog from England.
Right. Oh, it's unnecessarily difficult for sure.
Because if I wanted to buy a dachshund, I could go over there, get it, and fly back with it. That easy. Yeah. So why couldn't I, as a falconer in the United States, buy one, buy whatever it is I wanted in England and come back with it? But yeah,
I don't know.
It doesn't sound like this.
England?
What's that?
What bird do you want from England?
What is there not there that we want?
Yeah, Benelli's eagles.
Oh, okay.
Eagles.
Oh, you're talking about some captive bred stuff from there.
Yeah.
Not native stuff. I got you.
No, we don't want. What do they call them? The buzzards. We don't want any common buzzards. No.
Buzzards or Eurasian kestrels. No, we're good.
Yeah.
But they're breeding Benelli's eagles like crazy, African hawk eagles like crazy.
Yeah.
You could buy those for like $5,000 over there. That'd be awesome.
That is an MBTA and CITES issue.
Yeah.
And again, you're talking about getting into acts and probably some policy changes. That
I see why all these guys have given up. All we've done is talk about it for 2 hours, and I'm ready to give up.
There's no easy battle that's left in front of us. That's for sure. there's always some kind of moving part, or complicated piece that has to throw a kink in the works. But I wish I could tell you more about the captive breeding imports. I don't know. I've never been a breeder or propagator, so I don't know the ins and outs of that world.
Tom probably isn't a NAFA member, is he, Casey?
That's a good question. I feel like he probably is. I mean, he always supports all those groups. I'm not sure.
Yeah, we need to get Tom on the phone with you and Martin.
Then there used to be a NARBA, right? That kind of had their own group, North American Raptor Breeders Association, and they kind of kept the pulse on all that stuff, and it kind of dissolved. And I think maybe since then things have become more difficult. So
maybe Tom needs to get on that. Tom won't even pick up his phone, so I doubt he'll. I doubt he would do anything like that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, do you have anything you'd like to close with? You've been a good sport, and we appreciate you coming on.
Oh, yeah, no worries. I thought y'all were going to be hard on me, but
no,
we were holding back.
Yeah.
Why are you holding back?
We were pulling our punches. No, I think you answered the questions. I think I pushed you good enough.
It's a lot easier to be mean to you when we don't see you.
I got you. I'll be looking for the punches later then on some.
No. I think I expressed my feelings and concerns. I hope that something can change, and I hope that
you know what? And I think you have great ideas, and
except for my cheap membership idea.
I don't like the cheap membership idea.
I don't like it either. I think it's stupid. I think if you share
about the magazine, you're like,
no. The magazine is a valid point, and I think it's something that will take a formal proposal to the board to be considered.
I'll tell you the honest truth, Heath. When I was renewing recently, I thought there was an option to not get the magazine because I never read them. They just sit, they pile up.
There's a digital only option.
Yeah, but I was hoping, maybe I can get a membership for $20 less, and I can save myself $20 for something I never read. But yeah, I don't mind paying to be part of a membership, but I'm just saying from personal experience.
I know, and you know what? It seems like a lot of money, right? Because everybody's like, "Well, I can join DU for $35. Why are you charging me $60?" And again, it goes to there's only 4,000 of us. How far do you want your dollar to go? What do you want us to do for you? We can only do what's in the kitty, right? We operate on a $250,000 budget a year. That's it. That's all we got.
I think if you're in a
how much
to make it to those NAFA meets,
hold on, Aaron.
Let's hear that real quick.
How much?
250. I think is our annual budget.
Aaron, if they drop 250 in our lap right now, what could we do? I mean, we'd change the whole fucking world with that. What are we doing?
We'd all have eagles.
We'd all have eagles. I got
you. We change it. I'd be greasing palms. We have what we want.
That's not our expenditure. That's just the budget essentially.
Where's the money come from though?
Dues and fundraisers and raffles. That's all. That's the only income we have.
Yeah, but that's a very serious chunk of change.
Yeah, but it doesn't all. I mean, it doesn't all just go to one particular thing. I mean, the meat itself is almost $40,000 a year.
Yeah, but you should be. Yeah, but that doesn't mean anything. You should be making 80 off of that meat. We all know that.
We should. Doesn't mean we do.
You should. If the Jersey meat has a profit, a very nice chunk of profit after every Jersey meat, NAFA should be cleaning up.
Yeah, we don't clean up. We basically just recirculate that money.
They pay for the president and the vice president's hotel suite. They're eating 5-course meals at the NAFA.
Yeah, right. Mine doesn't get paid. I don't
get like fish at the bar, and it's all on NAFA's dime.
I don't get called. Yeah.
Heath, what if we just what if we just strip NAFA down to the bones and we get like I'm literally being dead serious. What if we strip it down to the bones and you get like a business expert in there and he says, all right, this is what we need to do. This is what we need to do for marketing. This is just a waste of money. That has to go there. This has to go there. And everything gets streamlined.
And which business expert's going to know diddly shit about falconry and what we're up against?
It doesn't matter about falconry.
It does.
It does not matter.
It's all that matters.
There's
what it's about.
I disagree.
I know a plumber in New York. Southern New York, Northern Jersey, who's quite the businessman who would love to volunteer.
Oh,
no, I'm not qualified for that. I've been in business for 8 years, but I know that you can stretch money, and at a certain point, you got to start cutting stuff back, and you got to start re-strategizing. Otherwise, you just literally go out of business.
Here's what I'll say is our annual budget is on the website every year. So if anybody that's a member wants to see where the money goes, it's on there.
What about a forensic accountant to go through?
Actually, we had an audit. Kidding. We had an audit accountant do our audit last year. Everything's been covered.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. So I don't think the budget is. It doesn't sound to me, and Heath, correct me if I'm wrong, but it doesn't sound like the money in the budget is an issue with NAFA. Would you identify that as a problem?
Money in the budget? Well, yeah, we're only limited on what we can do. It's only earmarked. The budget's got line items, right? And that's what the money goes for. And it's really difficult to, borrow from one to pay the other that went over, or something unexpected happened, or whatever. And we're trying to, when we do our annual budget every year, we're trying to realize what maybe we're up against and where we're going to need some additional funds or whatever, and shift it, because we only have so much money to work with every year. Because we only get that many dues, right? That's what we have to work with. And then whatever's left is usually rolled over from the year before or whatever. So it's like I said, it's almost like just a revolving door. We spend money, we make a little bit of money back, and we spend the same amount, and then we make a little bit back. We don't make money, and that's not the objective, to make money. Our objective is to represent falconers and ensure that falconry is available to practice to anybody who wants to. That's pretty much NAFA's sole purpose. And
as I suspected,
it's not, there's not a lot of money there. I know it sounds like a lot of money, but it doesn't, it's stretched every year.
No, I understand. I'm just joking. But what is the largest expense in NAFA's budget?
It's the field meet, for sure. Yeah.
But the field meet you should be bringing revenue from that.
Yeah, but like I said, we basically make back almost what we spend, and make a little bit off of the raffle that we have.
So, all right. Well,
it's just.
Thank you.
Yeah, I can't tell you anything about that, man. It costs what it costs, and we make what we make out of who comes there, and it just depends on how much money people want to spend when they're there, right?
Yeah.
We charge registration fees to cover the expenses, which puts it back into the same coffers that we use next year.
Got it. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, because otherwise it'd be too expensive to attend.
I think if we could just double that membership money, and we get you 2,600 members, and now you got 500K in there to work with. Yep,
I agree. Then we can.
That's really not that. I
know. Then we can do some good. You're right.
I'm just saying.
Heath, you're going to get one more member this weekend from Casey. He's going to.
I hope so.
How am I going to do that? The website won't even work.
No, it'll work. You just have to
He's going to put forth an effort, and he's going to join.
Heath, then he's going to join the social media team, and he's going to accelerate us into the front of the masses so that we can get that 2,500 members.
Yep.
Yeah, you got to cut me loose.
Yeah, man.
And you got to cut a bunch of other people loose. No, I'm being dead serious. Shut up, Aaron. Aaron's got his blanket. He's ready to go to bed. I'm fired up right now. You know what I mean? Like,
let's continue this when I end the recording, okay?
All right, okay. I'm just gonna close with this. If falconry is your life and nothing scares you more than losing your ability to fly your birds and trap the birds you want, join NAFA and become a member. I'm gonna do it right now. And I think it's a good thing. We need to get this stuff out in the open. I think Heath was a great sport, and he got a lot of stuff out in the open and explained a lot of things.
And if you don't like what they're doing, when you're a member, give them hell.
No, right, Heath? If you don't like what we're doing, listen, just like I said, the board of directors, the directors are voted on by the membership. They are your representation. If you don't like what your director is doing for you, then you need to step up and run for director next time the elections come up and get in and make the change happen you want to see change. That's how NAFA works. You don't like it, you don't just take your toys and go home. You get in, you dig in your heels, and you make shit happen. That's how it works. So I encourage anybody who wants to see something change in NAFA that's not seeing what they want to see to step up, volunteer, run for a director's position and get in and make these propositions, make these proposals, and let's get the board on, doing things. That's how it works.
Well said, Heath. And we also, there's an open invitation. We talked about this with another NAFA director, that we will host, and we're completely open to it. We'll host live debates with, no, I'm serious, because I heard it gets a little, I heard some stuff behind the scenes. It gets pretty catty when people are running in the same district. I heard it gets nasty.
It's not nasty.
I heard some stuff that was like, I was like, dang, man, these people really want that position. Like, it's not but we'll host a debate, and then you can express what you're going to do. We'll just do it like, democratically. It'll be great.
Right. Well, and don't be like some of these other past directors who complain about not knowing who anybody is because they never showed up to do their role.
Whoa.
So,
all right. We got to jump into that.
So Casey, if you're going to get on and be on the social media team, we expect some activity.
The only time I'm going to be on the social media team is if I can fire everybody and fill the whole team with people that I know are going to actually make a change and reach people. Because Peepaw on his rocking chair is not doing shit for social media right now. We got to get some young, cute girls, some guys that know how the algorithms work, and put them to work spreading NAFA's message to those that are around the country, showing them that NAFA's cool now and you should join. Otherwise, you're a dork.
I got your application right here, buddy.
All right.
All right. Thanks.
Fair enough. Thanks, Heath.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Been fun.